a serious guy. He's got a lot of experience. He's going to give us the overview of what we're looking at, okay? Sean over here, who's been doing the yeoman's work, getting everything ready for us, is cutting our core. We'll go back down to Beatty, and we'll show you that after the fact. But again, I've been telling people about sort of the layers of lithium, the expansiveness of this, and then we'll get in the trucks, go take a look at the rig, and then we'll head on back to Beatty. So go ahead, take it away.
Where's your dad?
Oh, he's currently in Cambodia, on a wonderful vacation.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Say hello to him for me.
Oh,
we came down here with Marcel Buchhorn.
Oh, nice.
And with Stephen. Stephen, when was that? About a month and a half ago?
Yeah, no more than a month and a half ago.
Yeah, you helicoptered into the drill site,
We helicoptered in here. And,
yeah, I'm sorry I missed that.
We're sorry we missed you as well, but you're here now, so that's going to make all the difference. We got a great first epic trip here.
I can see that.
So let's rock and roll, baby. Let's show us the goodies.
Show where we are now, Rick.
Yeah.
And
so we are
everything around us.
right now, right here. So this dot, or on this map, we are right here. And everything you see here is a drill hole that has been drilled if it's filled in for the last 2 years, or a drill hole that is planned to be drilled, the unfilled circles. So a little bit quick on the story of Bonnie Claire. 2011, we're looking at getting into lithium. My father and I went out as just a 2-person crew. We sampled every dry lake bed in the state of Nevada. And we picked our top 3, and Bonnie Claire was the first we staked. At the time, people were only really talking about brine. So we decided to go stake the far end of the valley over there. And, we then looked at some geology and a little bit of gravity data, and we went, you know what? We staked the wrong spot. Let's go further this way. The gravity low is over here. Iconic Minerals, shortly after we picked that up, my father and Joe were good friends. They worked together for a number of years. And they said, we're interested in some lithium projects, and this Bonnie Claire thing looks pretty good. So we ran some MT lines, and we went, wow, there's something really conductive under there. I bet we have brine. This is going to be great. So we went up north, and we started drilling these holes. This is 1601, the first hole that we drilled at Bonnie Claire. It was a mud rotary hole because we thought, big mud rotary hole, we'll take some water samples, we'll find this amazing brine, and that'll be the end of the story. No joy in any of the waters that we sampled there. Everything was incredibly basic. There was a lot of salt in it, but there was no lithium. So because of that, we went, well, maybe we just drilled in the wrong spot. So we drilled a mud rotary hole here and here. Both of those, same deal. But we decided just for fun to assay the sediments because, there's so much of this rhyolitic tuff around this basin. It assays 100 to 200 parts per million lithium. Where is it all going? So we assayed the sediments and found up to 2,500 parts per million lithium in those first drill holes. And we went, oh, that's interesting, but, nobody's really interested in sediment hosted. Later, Nevada Lithium started to enter the picture. They did a joint venture. We got funding to come down here. At the time, we only had NOIs to drill under, so the only spot we could drill was down on the south end. So we went, let's drill a deeper core hole and see what that looks like. And we found out pretty quickly that it was a mistake to drill those mud rotary holes up north. The core hole that we twinned a mud rotary hole on, which was our first hole last year, 1601, which is now a well out there on the playa that we will be driving past on our way to the rig. That hole showed that the values in the core hole were double what they were in the mud rotary hole. And what was happening is the lithium is all in a very fine fraction here. So when you were drilling with drill mud, it was just circulating up and down the hole and not precipitating out in any of the samples, which was kind of a boon for us. We were all very excited, and then we decided to keep drilling down here because we got good results. So all of these purple holes are holes that we drilled last year, and this one green hole here is BC 3201C, the hole that we just announced in our press release recently. And so we discovered, let's move over here to what the geology looks like, that we have this upper mudstone which is mineralized. This is what we're considering an open pit plan for. It averages a little over 1,000 parts per million lithium usually, and it's relatively contiguous amongst all of these holes. The only one that it's a little bit different in is 2205C, which is this hole here. You can see the cross section takes a bit of a jog so that we could cover all the holes over the last 2 years. And we're currently waiting on assays for our next core hole, but that'll be right here, so you all know. You'll see it on your drive-in, the pad for that site. What we discovered is there's also a sandstone in the middle here, and it's barren. It's not mineralized at all. Lithium values are as low as 45 parts per million, which is quite astonishing considering it's sandwiched between two very well mineralized zones. And then you get into the lower mudstone, which is our target for borehole mining. And we have found exceptional mineralization in this lower zone so far. We don't know the extent of any of these zones. Almost all of our resources just based here, which on this map of the claim block in blue, you can see we're just drilling right here right now. And according to the MT, those conductors start here and end here on this project. So the potential upside is significant, to put it mildly. And as you look at the grades between these units, you can see that you start in this open pitable material. Anything that is green is 700 parts per million or higher. Anything in orange is over 1,000 parts per million. Our preliminary economic assessment had a cutoff of 700, so that's why we decided to go with these particular values. And you can see that this upper zone, it's extensive. There's potential there to mine quite a bit of lithium near surface and take it out somewhat easily, but you can see why we've been interested in mining deeper here. As you continue on, the red is over 2,000 parts per million, and anything in purple is over 3,000 parts per million lithium. And this is the hole that we just announced, and you can see what it looks like lined up with these other holes, and that there's significant potential at depth, which is why we really can't ignore the option of going after the borehole mining method or some other versions that can target that deep mineralization. The other good news, it seems to be coming this way with a very, very slight dip in this direction towards the east. And what you're looking at right now towards the north, that whole zone is permitted to be drilled, and we haven't drilled any core holes up there yet. Going back to this map, you can see this pink outline. That is our plan of operation currently, but we have an expansion in the works right now that is going to cover this entire area for drilling. We're just waiting, because it's a gigantic survey, it's taking a long time to get all of the various permits in place. In addition, you may wonder why we're just drilling on this side this year. We were hit with a hurricane for the first time ever for this part of the world. We got over double the annual rainfall in one day. And so we had a lake at Bonnie Claire, the remnants of which you will still see out there right now. And so we built the pads that would benefit the resource the most, and they seem to have paid off so far from what we've seen. We're very excited about the results that we have and are excited to see more coming. So I guess at this point it'd be nice to take some questions, and I guess I should just quickly give a reason for why it's here. Maybe that'd be nice. 555 square miles, maybe 70% of this rhyolitic material weathering into the basin. Bonnie Claire drainage basin that weathers into this valley is over 900 square miles. And so that's our source material. You're getting this fine grain lithium material weathering out of these tuffs that surround this basin. The only mountain that isn't tough that you can see is that basalt hill behind you that's younger. All of the rest of this is the source of the mineralization here at Bonnie Claire, and it's just been concentrating in this basin for a very long time.
Rick, I've been talking to everybody a lot about the optionality here, the different things that we're looking at, because you mentioned
right.
You and your dad originally were looking for brine using a magnetotelluric survey sort of
right
as a starting point. Now, a couple months ago, we just completed a seismic survey that Dan and Marcel specifically had asked for to do it, a much more higher level, more precise type of thing. Can you just sort of point to everybody? Because like you were looking for brine in a certain area, but
Right.
we're thinking we might see different things in different areas. How does that all tie together?
The seismic survey was conducted quite a ways north of here, right along this line, and it's because the MT showed there was some kind of structural control in that area, and it's also a very deep part of the basin. What we're looking for brine is material that is different from what we have here. We know that in this very basic environment with a lot of calcium carbonate, the lithium has a tendency to precipitate out and not stay in solution. So our target for this seismic survey was to find something that had structural control that could bring in lower pH waters and help keep that lithium in solution in a brine. And we just recently completed that, as Steve said. So we're analyzing that data right now and beginning targeting for what will be a very deep mud rotary hole, probably 4,000 or 5,000 feet deep up in the northern part of the project to test the waters near these structures. So that's another exciting point of optionality going forward. There's so much lithium in this basin. It's always been our belief that there is a brine here somewhere.
Let's keep our fingers crossed we do hit it. We hit that, it's a game changer.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
we have a big number, as is
That's the point.
exactly
Right,
what we have
right.
right now without the brine.
Right.
That's very key.
And if which way would it be? Like open pit, the shallower stuff is over towards that way, right? Conceptually, how are we looking at it?
Right. Basically, once you get to the edge of the playa, within 20 feet, you're in what would be open pit.
And the playa is that's the white material,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
right where the vegetation ends in that direction. But this mineralization is still coming this way, and it extends under this alluvium. We don't know how far yet. But one point is we've never drilled a dry hole out here. Everywhere we've tested has been mineralized. So we could drill a hole right here, and while I can't guarantee anything, I would say there is an extremely high probability you would hit lithium here.
So to Dan's point, you know, we already have more than we need, right, for a project. But the beauty of this is she's got so much more to give, and we just got to go through basically drilling it to find out. And then it's how do you maximize shareholder value? And none of these things we're describing. Borehole mining, Rick was saying, looking down 2,500 feet. Open pit, obviously surface, I don't know, where the sandstone hits, that kind of thing. If it's 500 feet, let's just say bottom of an open pit in the highest grade area we could find. And then ultimately, if we hit the real jackpot on top of everything else, it's the brine. None of them stepping on top of each other. And the bus I was in, I called it pretty correctly. I said, hey guys, look, there's Bonnie and Claire starting. You're going to drive for 5 or 6 minutes till we get to the gate. It was pretty damn close. So I missed it with the other guys. But when you see the sheer footprint of what you got here already, you just, right?
Right.
The options are open.
The claim block here is 95-ish square miles or 75 square kilometers.
So there you have it.
How many
Manhattan
claims?
plus.
900?
917.
917. Now, I got to say one thing to everybody, because we did come by road, and it's good to come by road because you can understand the infrastructure coming from Las Vegas to here. This is in the middle of Africa. This is in the middle of, you know, Brazil somewhere where you're, you know, this is Las Vegas, 5-7-star hotels, 2.5 hour drive, infrastructure. But when you take a helicopter and you come in with a chopper, you can see the whole footprint from the air, the likes of which you can't see from the ground. But you can
Right.
see the white. But when you come in, when we first came in with Dave D'Onofrio and with Matt back in, I think, July, and it was dry before, you know, the water came in here, it's very clear the footprint, and there's no ands, ifs, or buts.
Right.
You could see the difference coming in, you know, by chopper, by helicopter.
And again, no endangered species, right? Your
Oh,
dad
yeah,
was
that has
telling
been
me
a
that's
huge boon.
nothing transits through here. So no endangered flora, fauna, anything like that. We just got to make sure the guys over in Area 51 don't drop a practice bomb over here occasionally,
Right.
you know, and we're fine. So I think at probably at this point in time, why don't we head on? Let's get back in and go out and see the rigs. You can see the playa, see how it changes a little bit. We'll circle back. We'll get a group shot. Dan, want to do
Yep.
it that way?
Okay.
Yep.
And then we'll have the
Super.
cord. Go
So
ahead.
probably
Super.
the easiest thing to do is, can I fit on one of the buses?
Yes,
Is that
absolutely.
okay? All right. So
He's got a
I'll kind
question.
of tell
Oh, yeah.
them-
I think he's got a
Sorry.
question.